The Last of Us Episode 4 has just been released, and it's safe to say that this episode was drastically different to Episode 3. Focusing on Joel and Ellie as they look to get to Wyoming, we saw an intimate episode which was carried mainly by both Pedro and Bella. However, that didn't mean that the stakes weren't high. We were introduced to the Hunters, the leader of them called Kathleen, and also Sam and Henry right at the end. So with that, I thought I'd recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is The Last of Us Episode 4 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. This episode was significantly shorter in runtime to the previous episode, and it definitely felt like that, coming in at just under 50 minutes when Episode 3 was around 1 hour and 20 minutes and Episode 1 was around 1 hour and a half. However, the pacing was bang on right for what this episode needed to achieve. This wasn't an episode that needed to get us invested in any new characters. Yes, it introduced a couple of new ones to us ever so briefly, but this one was more about the relationship developing between Joel and Ellie and the transition from him viewing her as cargo to her saving his life, and them being able to start to bond, have a laugh, and go against one of the first rules that we heard in the previous episode, not talking about their pasts. Something that it seemed as though Joel was trying to lean into. As we embarked onto the ending of this episode, we saw that Joel and Ellie were in Kansas City, and we witnessed a scene that was pretty much mirrored to what we saw in the video game taking place. There was a group of hunters that looked to ambush both Joel and Ellie and wanted to take them out. Hunters are known to brutally kill anybody that gets in their path, and they take all of their possessions and keep them for themselves. With the bodies that were around on the streets as well, it showed us that these were people that were likely killed by the hunters, highlighting that they don't kill to survive, they kill to keep hold of their territory. We saw Ellie mention how the QZ was there, but there was no Fedra. This is because the hunters in this city most likely overthrew Fedra due to the oppressive nature of the Fedra-run state. Hence why now, it was just like a free-reign zone, where it was run by the people looking out for the people. We saw that Kathleen, a person who was looking for two individuals called Sam and Henry, believed that the people that Joel and Ellie killed were killed by individuals brought in by Sam and Henry. However, we as the audience know that that isn't the case. Joel and Ellie climbed to the 33rd floor of a 45-story building, and we saw that Joel laid down shards of glass as a trap so that he'd be able to hear if people were coming. However, due to Joel being laid on his left ear when he woke up, which we found out was his good ear, it meant that he didn't hear anybody come. Two individuals broke into the room and held them accountable with their weapon. These two individuals were Sam and Henry, the people that were being spoken about all throughout the episode, so we're going to see these two new characters introduced to the show. Sam and Henry are both brothers who were known to be ambushed by a group of hunters when they were passing through Kansas City. This to me seems like it may differ due to the fact that Kathleen knew of them both and was actively seeking them out. However, them hiding in an apartment building and encountering Joel and Ellie was no different to what we saw in the game. Joel and Ellie. There were some great moments between these two characters at the core of this episode. We saw it starting off with Joel and Ellie falling asleep and Ellie being the person who was asking Joel questions in her sleeping bag, and it finished the other way round, having the reverse effect, with Ellie not wanting to answer Joel's questions on the first time that she harmed somebody. We saw the both of them genuinely bond during this episode. Ellie was telling Joel jokes, they were playing music of the past, and he even taught her how to use a weapon. It certainly seemed as though Joel was starting to see Ellie for a human being and not a piece of cargo that needed to be delivered. I think that by the end of the episode, Joel was actually starting to see Ellie as useful to both of them, especially considering that she saved his life, something that he most probably didn't expect that she would have been able to do. The first rule that they ever mentioned to each other was about not telling each other about their pasts, and this was broken in this episode as well, further supporting the idea that Joel is actually starting to soften up and be willing to talk to her. We saw him mention his brother Tommy and how he was out in Wyoming on his own after leaving the group of Fireflies, and he also mentioned how he'd been on both sides in order to survive, showing that although Joel was now the good guy, there was once a time where maybe he was considered to not be and was killing innocent people. This episode was crucial to the season because it showed the both of them connecting, something that we haven't seen so far. This was really the first time that we got an elongated period of time together with just these characters, and we already saw how easy it was for the both of them to actually get on, especially once Joel removed the front that he had. Ellie's jokes as well was something that was key to this. The jokes symbolize her personality slowly breaking down Joel's wall, and with the final one making him laugh, it showed that she managed to break it. It's going to be interesting to see how they continue to build on this moving forward. Kathleen and the Hunters. Within this episode, we were introduced to Kathleen, somebody who we didn't know from the game and is completely unknown to this world. It was clear to see from the off that she was hunting down Sam and Henry following them escaping, and that she wanted to take them in. So much so that she had a doctor held hostage because she believed that he knew where they were. What this scene did was show us exactly what Kathleen was all about. She had a doctor held hostage who was the very person that brought her into this world, and she ended up killing him, showing that she was the taker of life, automatically positioning her as a bad character. I feel she's going to be a character with a past that has led her to be the way that we saw her. She mentioned about her brother being killed by Fedra, so I would imagine that what occurred in that situation was most likely a key contributing factor as to why she's like what she is now. There was one main moment in this episode that showed that the city that the Hunters were in could soon be under attack by the infected. Within the episode, we saw that there was something below the ground that looked concerning and like the threat was imminent. And this was most likely a threat from one of the latter stages of being infected. Not the runners, stalkers, or clickers like we've previously seen in the show, but the bloaters. The bloaters are the last stage of the infection and the most dangerous that a non-infected person could encounter, so I guess we'll see what happens with that. For now, it seems like Kathleen just wants to locate Sam and Henry. We don't know the reason for her wanting to find the both of them, but I imagine we'll find out more as the episodes go on. I was a big fan of this episode. It stripped the show right back to its core and gave us great character performances, showed us the world that was further torn apart with death and devastation, and it put the characters at risk for the first time in a few episodes. We also got to learn more about Ellie's past and that she had more than met the eye when it came to bad things that have occurred, so I imagine we'll see more as the season develops. With Joel and Ellie still inside of the city and needing to find a way out, I feel an alliance is most likely going to be made with Sam and Henry to get them out of the city, so I don't fear for them right now anyway. The bloaters, when they come, are going to be epic to watch, so I can't wait to see how not only Joel and Ellie deal with that, but also Kathleen and the rest of the Hunters, because it's going to be deadly. So, there you have it, The Last of Us Episode 4 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.